We've been documented here since 1584, 1585, with the English first exploration of America. Piney Woods it's the Indians' land. It's always been the Indians' land. We've held the land down from generation to generation, and it was a free place. It was the only free place around. And there were no slaves. We'd never been under any slavery here, which is why we gave it the name Free Union, because we were free people. People have asked me in the past, what do you think about Piney Woods being part of the Underground Railroad? And I always say to them, you're asking the wrong question. The question should be, how could it not be part of the Underground Railroad? Here you have a free community dating back to forever. How could you have a free community 4 miles down the creek from where a reported Underground Railroad house is, and this community being free not be part of helping slaves escape to freedom? Being a free community, we were also known for our church. The church is a Disciples of Christ church. Before the Civil War, you have a group of people preaching with its own denomination called the Disciples of Christ that were organized in this community. This predates almost, especially in the South, this would predate a lot of, I don't know of any other place that has a church that dates back that far.
Holy, pleasing to God.
We have, today, we have churches in Long Island. From Long Island, Camden, New Jersey, Philly, any Disciples of Christ church that is of color stems from the foundation of this church right here, which was called the Mother Church.
This community, Free Union, Piney Woods, means the world. This is a deep, deep personal root for me. We have a deep familial legacy of progressive activism, of entrepreneurship, of ownership, of meeting solutions through business. My father, of course, Bishop William J. Barber II of the Poor People's Campaign, has dedicated his career, his life, to advancing civil rights, economic justice for all Americans. Before him, my grandfather and grandmother, William J. Barber Sr. and Eleanor P. Barber, actually left integrated Indiana and moved back to segregated North Carolina to help integrate the school systems here in Washington County. So we are pulling from those legacies of leadership, those legacies of commitment to community, those legacies of dreamers who dreamed what was possible before they could see it, to really build a new future as we go forward.
Our father, William Barber II, used to take us around this area, showing us the places, showing the people here, telling us the history of this community, the history of the land, really, which both go together. Thinking about the work of my grandfather, the work of my dad, and our relationship to this community, we're really trying to build on that work, and we recognize, that anything that we have done is not because of, our own intelligence, our own ability by itself, but it really has been because of a foundation that has been laid years before us. And so I think what we're trying to do is just continue to work in our own way, but in the same tradition.
So Free Union Piney Woods is a really important historic free black community. Going back before the Civil War, this little place was incorporated by a mix of really resilient people, and so we're excited to be able to partner with the families that are still here. Sometimes we forget about these small rural towns and in places like Eastern North Carolina, and as it happens here in Piney Woods, just the neighboring property, in fact, you begin thousands of acres of industrial plantation pine stands that basically provide industrial pulpwood for nearby paper mills. These used to be the farms and homes of the people of this community. And so it's exciting to be able to deal with some of the key issues of black and indigenous land loss in rural places like this. Croatan Institute is working closely with Rural Beacon Initiative on the future of Free Union Farms, this really exciting initiative to transform historic heirs property in this historical free black community of Piney Woods in Martin County, North Carolina, into a sustainability hub focused on regenerative agriculture, historic preservation, and a lot of interesting other initiatives, revitalizing a very historically distressed community here in Eastern North Carolina.
This community has a historical connection to a lot of my ancestors. We're probably all related at some point in time. Skaruran, which is Tuscarora, people occupied this territory for what some of us believe to be upwards to 4,000 or so years. Where our expertise is largely with our ancestral seeds and various other heirloom seeds, as well as traditional agricultural practices of Skaruran and other indigenous people from the area. What we hope to do, along with being able to present our traditional understanding of our agriculture, but is also to help redevelop those connections of familial bonds with the local community here, to let them be able to find that connection, at least to this part of their ancestry.
History here in Free Union is one that is incredibly rich, incredibly unique. We're talking about over a century of triracial people of color, free people of color, south of the Mason-Dixon line, who did not sharecrop, who were not enslaved, but who owned land outright. So this model of people of color in entrepreneurship and ownership, maintaining deep-rooted familial connections to land is absolutely something that we are continuing. It is so important that we understand that history, even as we meet this moment of climate crisis, because many of the same communities that are now listed as the front lines, as disadvantaged areas, as impacted areas, are communities who could have seen these models of self-reliant, self-determination if they were allowed to thrive and flourish. In this present moment, we seek to reclaim those models as we go into a new future and demonstrating that in the form of a just transition, rural communities, southeastern communities, BIPOC communities can and must lead. At the core of everything we do are solutions that are good for the land, good for the people. At the core of everything we do are solutions that increase self-determination and self-resiliency for communities. And at the core of everything we do is in the model of the Sankofa bird, looking back and understanding our history, our historic roots, even as we build a beautiful and brighter future within this community.